This video was sponsored by Enhance, NeoWatt, ABRP, Elbilmek, Kempower and EB Hub. Yo, what's up? We are now sitting in the Zeekr 7 GT Core rear-wheel drive. And well, this video will be partly about this car, but it's mainly about the Audi Q6 e-tron 2026 model, the new e-tron that I went on a road trip to, well, I wouldn't say Northern Europe, yes, with a family. For 2 weeks, we went all over the place, right? And I could experience the good and the bad things about the Q6 e-tron. And just like the Zeekr 7 GT, it wasn't this, it was the privilege with the bigger battery. I made a list of 36 things with the software that should be improved. Well, the good news is that with the Audi, I found only 10 things. So the first few days, I found like, okay, this was kind of annoying. That was, but then after a couple of days, I didn't find too many annoying things. So, okay, the list consists of some maybe things that should be fixed, but also some nice to have features, right? So, okay, the first thing is don't turn off the car if the driver leaves. So I experienced this, like it would be 28 degrees Celsius outside, right? Scorching hot outside. And then wife will be sitting in the passenger seat, buckle up. The car has a buckle up sensor, whatever. But it just totally ignores that. And so, oh, the driver left the seat, yes. Then we're gonna shut down the HVAC and turn off every like outlets, USB-C or 12-volt outlet in the back. Turn off everything. No, it should detect that there's someone sitting here, at least passenger, and then keep the climate on. So the way wifey needs to do it, that she has to push the power button and then you get the heating or cooling for 5 minutes. What the heck is that? And you know, the car knows about that there is someone sitting here, because when I'm driving and I'm using navigation and I fiddle too long with the navigation, it'll be like, you cannot use the infotainment now. You have to wait 10 seconds and pay attention to the road, you know, just like the Volkswagen or the, yeah, they have the same system. But when wifey was sitting with me, when I use navigation, it was like, can't use the navigation. And but there was a button, or can't use the infotainment. I mean, I'm the passenger, so I'm like, wife is asleep. Yes, I'm the passenger. Tick! And then I could do my thing in the navigation or whatever, right? Change music. So the car already has some kind of logic to figure out if the passenger is here. So yeah, just fix it, please. And then next thing is the keep climate on. So we have the keep climate on that lasts for half an hour if you're not plugged in, and when you're plugged in, it lasts for 1 hour. Well, what if you want to keep it on for longer than that? There could be some phones or some electronic devices that contains battery that you leave in the car for various reasons. And you know, lithium batteries, you don't want to expose them for over 50 degrees Celsius for too long, right? So if you're on, I don't know, amusement park or somewhere, you have to park out in the sun, you could keep climate on. Maybe you can just set it to 24, 25 degrees Celsius so it doesn't go too crazy, right? Or only fans if it has that. But my point is that the way I had to do it is that I didn't want the interior to be too hot. I also had a cooler box in the back, so that's also another reason to not get it too hot, right? So then I have to run it. Like when I was on a zoo or amusement park, I would then bring up the app and then start the preconditioning from there. And then after maybe an hour or so, I would go back and then have to do so. Why don't you just have a keep climate on like Tesla? Or at least the preheating lasts longer. Also the Chinese cars, many of them like Xpeng, or I think this car I haven't tested, but they allow you to just keep the climate on until the battery is low to like 20%. Yeah, how about that? I mean, you shouldn't babysit the user. The user should know what to do and what not to do to run the battery too low, right? Okay, point number 3 is more like a minor thing. Oh, I see this, yeah, I said 10 things, but it's actually 11. Point number 3 is don't call it auxiliary heater, because auxiliary heater is something completely different. It's this extra heater that burns fuel in a fossil car to quickly heat up the coolant to get heat in the cabin faster, especially for these cars, or maybe get the working temperature up faster so that you will consume less fuel, right? So, but then for some reason, VAG, like Audi and BMW also, yeah, the German cars, they tend to call it auxiliary heater, but it's technically not auxiliary heater. It's just either a PTC heater or a heat pump that runs it. But that's just minor thing. It's nitpicking, yes. Point number 4 is in the app. This is kind of nitpicking, but when you start preheating via the app, if you go back to it after a couple of minutes, you will see that, okay, HVAC active 29 minutes. So you'll be like, what does it mean? Have I been running it for 29 minutes? No, it's 29 minutes left. So you just put in left there. So it says 29 minutes left, because when I tried the app, I think it was Kia app, Kia Hyundai, yeah, maybe many other apps also. When you run the HVAC from the app, it will tell you how many minutes left, even if it's only 15 minutes or half an hour, it will tell you that. So this is just not being clear. So you want to ABC. Okay, point number 4, we had kids with us with the child seats, and the problem with the Isofix mounting points is that there are no sensors there. So the car doesn't know that you have mounted car seat in there. Then the HVAC in the back would not fire up. I can see it when I went in the settings in the Q6. It was like, okay, I need to turn it on. Okay, great. But then the car doesn't remember that. So next time we start the car again, it defaults back to off. So the workaround was that I had to buckle up at the back. Then it detected that as someone sitting there. But then after 2 weeks of driving around, the seat belt was a bit kind of, I don't know, flatten out some places, and so I would like to not do that, but have a feature in the HVAC to say that, you know, keep it on or something like that, because of, I don't know, child seat or other reasons, right? Until you turn it off. Okay, point number 6. It has a new feature now, the new Audi. It says Dashcam in the behind the mirror, and you can click on it to record, but it will automatically sense if something happens, like, I don't know, some kind of accelerator sensor, right? If there's an accident or some incident, it will save the last 30 seconds plus the next 30 seconds or so automatically. But you can also click to record it manually. But then when you click to record it, it says it's recording, but the picture is just frozen on the last frame before you started it. So it's like, what? Because Neo I tried last year, they're way better. Not only did it have more cameras recorded, when you bring up the dash cam, you will see the front camera, the side cameras, the back camera, and they all give you live feedback that, you know, plus that there is a red dot on each screen showing that they're recording. And then if you press to stop recording, then the red dots disappear, you know, or it's grayed out or something. So that's way better visualization, what's going on. So the Audi, just, I don't know, maybe the Audi runs on 286 CPU or something, because the Audi has 360 camera. Why can't it not record on all the cameras it has? Point number 7, keep the USB-C and or the 12 volt active. There could be situations where you need to charge a laptop and then you just want to go somewhere, maybe in a shopping mall for half an hour, but you don't want to bring your laptop with you, right? And then you want, maybe you don't care about the HVAC on, but you just want the car to keep some stuff on so you can charge it. So that's the advantage of EVs, that you have a big battery and you can charge a 12 volt battery from it, and then you can run the USB, whatever, on that one again, right? So that's the advantage of an EV, but it seems like this car doesn't allow you to utilize all the advantages with an EV. So for me, I had this cooler box with me, so I wanted to keep the cooler box active while I was in an amusement park or just eating lunch, long lunch or something, right? Or playing at the the playground or Leo's Lekeland. We'd spend 2-3 hours there, and then I just want the food to be nice and cool. So the workaround for me was to use this power bank. Yeah, but it would be easier if you just keep the thing active. Many Chinese cars and also Tesla, you can choose how long you want the 12 volt or the USB-C to be active after you left the car. Okay, point number 7, improve auto parking. So the auto parking was being weird. Okay, you could say, well, it's my fault because I tried to auto park while there were people in that parking nearby, you know, getting out of the car with a stroller and everything. No, but it chose some weird driving path. And even when I was alone in a parking lot in a completely different scenario, the car made some weird choices and was not parking very smart or smooth or anything. So in general, just try to improve the auto parking. And the next point is also about auto parking. It lacks better visualization. So it has 360 camera. Why isn't it using it like a Toyota? Because you get on the screen some like the car and then some slots, and then you have to guess that, okay, but I want to park on that slot. Which slot is that in the screen here? And then okay, is it this? It could look like this. No, it's wrong. Okay, so why didn't they just overlay it on the 3D, or the 360 camera view? You know, that would be way easier, way more intuitive, just like the Toyota BZ4X. Okay, point number 10, remember that drive mode. I heard that this might be some kind of new EU thing, that more and more car manufacturers, also this car, resets the drive mode. This car, the Seeker, resets to comfort every time. And then the Audi would reset to balance every time, but I prefer to have it in comfort mode. So every time you leave the car, come back, and also because the car is kind of silly, it's so aggressive on turning off everything. So then, okay, then it resets. But I heard that the reason why it resets is because when you do the VLTP or something measurement, the range, they do it based on that default comfort mode or balance mode. So then that's why they reset back to that. No, but why? Why does it have to be like that? You know, it's like you open a window in the house, and then you leave the house, and when you come back home, the window closed by itself. But what? Because that's how it was measured when it was built. Okay. Well, a last thing is make Autosteer smooth again, or I don't know. But many Chinese cars, I bitched about this before, they are actually also Korean cars, yes, Hyundai and Kia. But when they're going like on a straight road, as straight as Elton John, it's like, what the heck is that? And also when you go on a slight curve, it's not just going on a slight curve like this, you know, it's like, But the Audi was also doing that. I was like, huh, what? I was a bit surprised because when I tried the Mercedes and BMW, the other German autos, they are really smooth when it comes to acceleration and all that. Okay, I had to highlight one thing though. The Audi was super smooth in Stau. Like standstill and crawling at 30 kilometers per hour and then more standstill. It did it really smooth. No harsh braking and thing. But when you're just cruising on empty roads or in like 60 to 120 kilometers per hour traffic though, the steering wheel would be like nervous, like an Asian car. So they should make it smooth. Yes, it's all about smooth drive in the German autos. But you see, this was 11 things I found, and I didn't really, okay, I didn't try to look for more errors or more things to nitpick about. But when I drove the Seeker 7 GT, I was only doing my tests, my challenges or whatever, right? Or just driving it around town, doing some daily drive. And I kept finding things. I was like, why is this? No, why is it doing that? Why is it beep? Why is it, you know, like, I kept finding things, you know, but, sorry. But the Q6 e-tron wasn't like that. Okay, a couple of things that should be fixed because it was kind of designed like a dinosaur. But other than that, the car was smooth. It was not annoying. It was not beeping or nagging or stuff too much, at least. So that's good. Yeah. So only 11 things then. Yes, that, I don't know, do you guys agree? Should be fixed. No, just Bjorn, don't call it auxiliary heater is no problemo. You know, you nitpicking, you all fart. Okay. Anyway, I think that's gonna be for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching and talk to you later.